Now that your settlers also have a water point available, they can supply themselves with water and food. Similar to how it's done at the food stations, this enables you to precisely control at which places your settlers are able to attend to their needs. Since we have our logistics under control, now we can concern ourselves with the weather and its challenges. We can build a weather station to enable us to make a forecast regarding upcoming weather and learn if potentially contaminated rain might be coming our way. It can also be used to prepare our crops and rainwater collectors we might have against contaminated rain by covering them. Very good. Now that we know what sort of weather awaits us and how we can protect ourselves against contaminated rain by covering our crops and rainwater collectors, we ought to attend to collecting the rain we want. Rain not only humidifies the soil, it can also be automatically collected via rainwater collectors to generate a steady flow of additional water. Since we've already built our weather station, we're able to decide what kind of circumstances would make us want to cover our rain collectors. Never forget that our settlers might get sick if we distribute water contaminated with radiation at our settlement. Even if they're wearing protective clothing, we should make sure that the collected water is as purified as possible. We can have our crops covered to shield our seedlings against radiation. But once they've been covered, naturally they won't be irrigated with rain anymore. To rectify this problem, we can build an irrigation plant that is able to artificially regulate soil humidification. Place this building with care because it is only going to irrigate the soil within its impact radius. As long as our irrigation plant is supplied with filtered water, it is able to neutralize a possible contamination of the soil due to radiation. But watch out. When water contaminated with radiation is fed into the system, this can lead to precisely the opposite. And the irrigation plant itself may possibly cause radioactive pollution of its surrounding area. Alongside contaminated rain, there are other environmental hazards, such as sandstorms or droughts. The soil dries out during a drought, and sandstorms sweep across the landscape from time to time. These sandstorms can damage your buildings and ultimately make them unfit for use. We ought to prepare for this and assign several more builders to enable potential damage to be repaired. You can decide which type of task your builders ought to give priority to at our town center. You can instruct them to merely repair buildings, to erect new buildings, or to do both at the same time. This enables you to react quickly in crisis situations. For instance, in the event of a sandstorm, you can quickly attend to having damaged buildings repaired. Now that we've taken care of all the necessary needs of our settlement, such as food, water, protective clothing, and tools, our next efforts ought to focus on increasing the settlement's overall productivity. A research station allows us to develop different technologies. One step in moving our settlement ahead is to make it possible for our refiners to acquire electronics from scrap. We should perform research on the appropriate technology to achieve this and instruct one of our refiners to produce electronics. very good. With this new research station and the ability to acquire electronics from scrap, we can provide our settlement with all the materials we need. The research station is very useful in enabling us to adapt ourselves to our surroundings by using the right technologies in any situation. Down in the Endzone, we dealt with the concept of a solar collector. This solar collector is able to collect sunlight and convert it into electricity. We wanted to try out whether our idea works and build a solar collector. The solar collector produces energy by capturing sunlight and feeding this energy into a grid. The solar collector also gives us all the relevant information we need to keep an eye on our settlement's power consumption. Each of your buildings automatically hook up to this power grid when you set up an electric power pole within the building's range. Buildings supplied with electricity work distinctly, more effectively, and produce faster as a result. What's more, housing supplied with electricity increases the confidence of the settlers who use it. Each of your buildings automatically hook up to this power grid when you set up an electric power pole within the building's range. Buildings supplied with electricity work distinctly, more effectively, and produce faster as a result. What's more, housing supplied with electricity increases the confidence of the settlers who use it. fantastic. I can only picture how our ancestors must have felt with their almost infinite supply of. Logically, the solar collector is only able to produce energy during the daytime. It would be beneficial if we could also make electricity available at night so that our settlement remains effective. It's clear that we currently work slower at night, so let's try to store the surplus energy we produce during the daytime to enable it to be used at night. That looks good. Some buildings are now connected to the power grid. Although a well-structured settlement that's hooked up to the power grid consumes a certain amount of resources, it is enormously effective. Oh, and just as an aside, you can have electric power poles put up on many surfaces, even on roads. Now that electronics are finally available to us, you can have your town center upgraded one more time to provide for more storage capacity. Very good. The additional storage capacity is going to be very useful. With the settlement producing on a stable scale, we can now focus on exploring our surroundings. Though we heard a bunch of stories in the Endzone, now we can explore the ruins our ancestors left behind firsthand to find treasure and resources. Let's build an expedition station. Well done. Assign settlers to be scouts and prepare expedition rations. When you want to send off an expedition, you can decide the quantity of expedition rations with which to supply the expedition. As a result, you can control how long and how thoroughly it is able to explore a ruin. Let's send out a few scouts to find a ruin. The scout will visit the ruin you have designated and explore it. As a result, the scout will supply us with important information about the site that we should pay attention to when we start an expedition. Our scout has returned and brought along a variety of useful information. Now that we know what we have to reckon with, we can put together a team in order to explore the ruin more precisely. Each ruin has its own challenges, secrets, and valuable resources. Choose settlers who fulfill the necessary prerequisites for the respective ruin, and give them enough expedition rations to take along. In addition, don't forget to equip them with protective clothing and tools to the best of your ability before you send them off. Now that you've commissioned the expedition, it's now in preparation stage. Expedition rations and other necessary resources are being amassed. Afterwards, the settlers you selected will relinquish their old tasks, assemble, equip themselves, and subsequently set off together on their way. Get yourself ready to make tough decisions. Good news. Your expedition has finally reached its destination. Now it's all up to you. Contact them and listen to what they have to say to you. Make wise decisions and guide the settlers through the ruin with meticulous care.